When TikTok's golden girl Charli D'Amelio suddenly vanished from the Hype House, many fans suspected that something was up. Rumors swirled on online communities as fans wondered if the departure was caused by jealousy, betrayal, or something even darker behind those mansion doors. But Charli's exit was just one crack in the dramatic falloff of the Hype House, the viral content collective that promised fame, friendship, and endless clout, but would also end up delivering some scandals, lawsuits, and broken relationships. From Charli's messy breakup with Chase Hudson to Daisy Keech's explosive departure video that got fans talking and caused an intense series of back-and-forth accusations.
I didn't even know Thomas had the heart to do that. He was my best friend. He loves to have power. He loves to be able to tell people what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. It started to feel like a dictatorship in this house.
We have a house of 20 people that post 3 to 4 times a day. Like, we're talking about over 150 videos every single day from just our team.
In a house that he barely even paid for. He also came up to me and asked me to manipulate one of the bigger creators that was thinking about joining.
The group was also popular for their top-notch parties, especially the ones that they threw in 2020, even with the COVID-19 enforced lockdown causing national outrage. The Hype House was truly the perfect combination for a storm of fame, drama, and chaos. They created so much trouble in their rented mansion that the landlord sued them for over $400,000 in damages. And when the Netflix reality show that was intended to cement their legacy ended up exposing the dysfunctionality of the crew, the massive empire that they built on likes and views began to crumble. This is the story of how a dream of viral fame turned into one of social media's most notorious tales filled with lies, betrayals, and scams. To understand the full scale of the Hype House influence, we have to go back to the origins of the crew and exactly how Hype House started. See, this story of the Hype House began way back in 2019, when some TikTok creators came together to establish what they called a content creator collective based in Los Angeles. Their concept was simple. They would bring together young, upcoming creators all together in one house to collaborate, amplify growth, and capture the imagination of TikTok's young and restless audience. The idea sprang to life through 3 key creators: Chase Hudson, Thomas Petro, and Daisy Keech. They each contributed significantly in different ways to make the Hype House dream come true. Chase Hudson, who was popularly known online as Lil Huddy, had already built a signature presence on TikTok with his lip-syncing videos, dance videos, and other visually stylized content. His popularity and overall aesthetic vision helped define the brand of the Hype House early on, creating a place where creators like himself could cross-pollinate audiences and gain new subscribers from each other's following, and far faster than they would alone. Thomas Petro, who at that time was only recently ousted from Jake Paul's Team 10 collective in August 2019, brought in both experience and ambition. He had already seen the pitfalls of influencer houses firsthand and was determined to build something better. Petro co-created the Hype House alongside Hudson, modeling it on the collaboration-first structure he believed Team 10 lacked, and positioned himself as both a creative lead and business thinker. Daisy Keech was the third other major early contributor, as she helped fund the initiative. The model and fitness influencer contributed by raising $18,000 for the Hype House deposit, with Lil Huddy and Thomas Petro both chipping in $18,000 and $5,000 respectively to bring the sum to $41,000. The final contributors were Alex Warren and Kuver Anand, also chipped in to bring the total amount to $46,000, completing the initial deposit for the house. Though she departed by March 2020, citing internal conflicts, Daly's early financial and creative support was critical in laying the foundation. The trio met through Thomas Petro, who is Daisy's personal photographer and editor, a field he returned to after his departure from Team 10. According to an article from the Business Insider, Daisy recounts the early days of her relationship with Petro, saying, "We hung out almost every single day. We told each other everything. He was my best friend," painting a picture of a rather great relationship. Petro was also friends with Lil Huddy at the time after he did a photo shoot with him and talked to him about starting a content collab house. After the shoot, Petro and Keech were introduced to Hudson's friends and fellow creators Alex Warren and Kuver Anand. Within 13 days of that first group conversation, They pooled their resources and signed a lease on a sprawling Spanish-style Los Angeles mansion in the Hollywood Hills, boasting 6 bedrooms, a pool, and enough space for a rotating cast of creators. They named it the Hype House, a name meant to both sound exciting and marketable.
What's up, ET? I'm Thomas. Welcome to the Hype House. Come on in, let's get a tour. Why does that look so lit, though?
Welcome to the TikTok bathroom. And this is my ring light. His name is also Jerry.
Welcome to our kitchen. Those are small. Whoa, more snacks.
And this is my room.
From the outset, the project was framed as a content factory, not a party house for teenagers. And according to some media leaks in Dazed and the New York Times, members were expected to produce daily content, round-the-clock effort from everyone in the house as they all tried to grow together. The house also had a strict rule for the behavior of the occupants, mandating that anything that was damaged or broken in the house by any member would have to be replaced by said member, or they would risk losing their place. This rule was a bit harsh, but it was justified because, unlike Team 10, the Hype House did not take cuts from individual deals, which meant that everyone could make as much as they wanted and keep all of it, the rules serving as an incentive to work. The founding roster of the Hype House were a mix of some established names as well as some rising stars. One of TikTok's fastest rising stars and the youngest member of the collective, Charli D'Amelio, who was 15 at the time, and her sister Dixie, who were 18, were part of the biggest names on the Hype House tenants roster. Charli D'Amelio, who is already a fast-rising star on TikTok, would have been a pretty easy pick for the founding crew, as she already had over 22.8 million followers on TikTok from doing popular TikTok dance routines and other styled visual content. Her elder sister, too, was no pushover, holding her own with over 8.7 million followers on TikTok, also doing mostly dance videos alone and occasionally with Charli. 19-year-old TikToker Addison Rae also made this spicy roster, even though she had only joined the platform about a year ago. In that short time, she was still able to amass a huge following of almost 14 million followers from her dance videos and eventual music career.
Now from the top, make it drop, that's some wet, that's some wet. Now get a in a mop, that's some wet, that's some wet. I'm talking wop, 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 that's some wet, that's some wet. Macaroni in a pot, that's some wet, that's some wet, huh?
Avani Gregg, the obsessed Billie Eilish superfan, was also a member of the Hype crew at 17 years of age. Before joining the Hype House, her dance videos, costume makeup videos, and other sponsored content helped her reach the 10 million followers mark, giving her a strong platform to build on in the content house. Other inaugural members of the Hype House included Nick Austin, Alex Warren, and Kuver Anand, who was also one of the early contributors who chipped in for the house lease. Many of the team crew were young teenagers who still lived with their parents, but the Hype House offered them a ticket to the big leagues of influencer culture. Once the recruitment process was done and everyone had moved in, the team quickly created its own dedicated TikTok page called the Hype House and started churning out collabs content with different member pairings. Of the nearly 20 members of the Hype House, some members were seen in more videos than the others because they lived in the house full time. The house was home base for creators like Charli and Dixie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, Avani Gregg, Alex Warren, Larray, Kuver Anand, and a few others, giving them the edge as they created more content and appeared in more videos as a result. The only other members that stayed in the house full-time too were Petro and Keech, with Petro managing schedules and any other house issues, while also resolving conflicts and scouting for new talent. Keech, on the other hand, tried to create as much content as she could, and also pseudo-managed the younger stars. Within a month, the Hype House Instagram page gained over 1 million followers, and the TikTok account exploded with over 7 million new fans. Lil Huddy saw his following jump from 3.5 million to nearly double the number 2, the numbers being a redundant confirmation that being together worked. But while they enjoyed the success early on, there was also a share of controversy at the start. When you see the roster for the Hype House, you can't help but notice that there aren't any persons of color. They're all white. This coincidence led many fans to call the Hype House out for its lack of people of color. And some TikTok stars even now suggested the creation of a melanin mansion for TikTok stars of color.
All right, hear me out. So these niggas went ahead and created a Hype House with all white people on it. So I think it's our turn to have some fun. I propose a house where we all have cookouts. All the chicken will be wonderfully flavored, and we'll sell out our culture for TikTok hype. And I call it the Melanin Mansion. My fellow kings and queens, let us join forces in creating the Melanin Mansion. Serious inquiries only. Duet this video to apply or just DM me. And yeah, this is gonna be a real thing.
And while the pitch for a melanin mansion might have sounded feasible and like a good idea, it never gained any serious traction. Fans also pointed out that TikTok wasn't ready for a black version of Hype House at that point. Right after its inception, the Hype House quickly rose in fame and became TikTok's hottest content engine. The formula worked almost instantly, as members filmed together day in, day out, their collaborations boosting each other's follower counts. Charlie became the most followed person on TikTok within months. Addison signed with a major talent agency. Chase's moody teen idol image had him trending constantly. The collective's shared social media platform amassed millions of followers in weeks. The group's visibility and influence was so significant that it even led to them getting a Netflix reality series called Hype House, which premiered in January 2022, offering a behind-the-scenes look at their personal lives, relationships, and struggles of the crew. It was a win-win on the surface, as fans and the general public saw the glamour, the luxury, and the endless run of content creation. But behind all that facade, tensions and controversies were already brewing among members and founders of the Hype House. By 2020, COVID-19 had taken the world by storm. Within months of announcing the virus in China, it had spread across most continents, forcing governments across the world to mandate national lockdowns and curfews. The news, while disheartening for the Hype House crew, didn't stop them from doing what they liked. And in July 2020, Nikita Dragun hosted a surprise birthday party for Lorraine at the Hype House mansion. This happened at the height of California's COVID-19 restrictions, with reports suggesting that about 67 attendees, mostly influencers, gathered at the event, all without masks or distancing. The backlash came fast. Social media users, other influencers, and even fans called it irresponsible. Several attendees issued public apologies after the outrage. The reaction from fans was very swift to criticize their actions, with some of the fans calling for their arrests and possible fines for breaking the lockdown rules. Another user on Reddit was more concerned about the well-being of young teens, who in his words, probably now think that it's fine to go for parties because these famous people are doing it. Another user pointed out that this was how the virus returned in Korea, saying that people started going to clubs and parties, breaking down the herd resistance. After receiving a whole lot of criticism, some members of the Hype House that were at the party eventually tried to make amends by issuing public apologies and statements before returning to the normal content life. After the COVID party issue, the next test for the collective was the unraveling of their open-door collaboration model, as members started raising questions about specific collaborations and member rights. First up was Daisy Keech, one of the co-founders, started raising some concerns in March that she was being excluded from decisions and was also cut out of ownership of Hype House, despite investing early funds. Daisy Keech was ready to fight publicly and legally. She released a tell-all YouTube video detailing manipulation, erasure, and betrayal.
What's up, guys? If you don't know me, I'm Daisy and I'm a co-founder of the Hype House. By the title of this video, you probably already know what I'm about to talk about, and I don't want to talk about this, but I do feel like I should. I wanted to speak to you directly because I feel like it's important for you to hear how I feel coming from me and not from a middleman, not from saying, oh, Daisy said this, they said that, this is how she feels, and just like assume. I wanted you to hear it directly from me, and I feel like it's a little bit more personal, and now no one can assume how I feel because I'm about to tell you everything from my perspective down.
She started the video by saying that she still loves everyone at the Hype House, then goes on to narrate how Thomas Petro, who was her good friend for years, and how she hired him as her photographer and editor after he was fired for no reason from his previous team. Then Thomas linked up with Chase Hudson, aka Lil Huddy, over a photo shoot and told him about the idea to start a content house. and they brought that to Daisy and she was all in. They met at Hudson's Airbnb to discuss the idea better, and they started hunting for houses on Zillow right there. They eventually found the current Hype House, and they agreed on it, and she contributed $18,000 for the deposit.
He started to talk about the idea of a content house. And at this time, he just met Chase. He did like a photo shoot for him on Carlsbad to meet up with Alex and Cobra and their whole crew. And Chase had an Airbnb in LA. And we all met up there and we all hung out and we all vibed. And we're like, yeah, like we really should take this whole content house thing seriously. So we started looking at like Zillow and all the home rental websites. And we found the house that we're at now, the Hype House.
Despite putting down that money, Daisy said that she didn't feel like she was being represented in neither the media nor the decision-making of the house. She claimed that she wasn't ever credited as a co-founder, and she also had no access to the Hype House's social media accounts nor the brand deals they were getting.
And I wish even that I had someone telling me to go get some recognition, because I know that I deserved it. I put down $18,000 plus my own platform. I just kind of kept my mouth shut the entire interview, didn't try to take any recognition, and just left it to Thomas and Chase. And looking back, I really wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have been strong enough and set an example for other female co-founders who are afraid to take the recognition because they're such powerful men.
Meanwhile, Thomas was taking more and more control. She's quoted saying, "A trend that I'm starting to notice is he loves to have power," speaking about Thomas in her video. He loves to be able to tell people what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. It started to feel like a freaking dictatorship in this house, a house that he barely even paid for.
Who is a part of the Hype House, and Thomas is the only one with full control over that. A trend that I'm starting to notice is he loves to have power. He loves to be able to tell people what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. It started to feel like a fucking dictatorship in this house, in a house that he barely even paid for.
Things seemed to come to a head when Daisy walked into the house one day to find that they were filming a music video for an artist in the house. She was annoyed that she had not previously been told about the shoot, considering her name is on the lease and she could be held legally liable for any damage to the property. That was when Thomas told her that the money she put down, the $18,000, was so they could live together as friends, and it was not for the Hype House.
And I walk in and there's this huge music video production. Me being on the lease, you would think he would have to get my permission or at least bring it up to me, but he didn't. He claims he put it in the group text, but you still need to go to all the people on the lease and let them know what is going on and if it's okay with them. I go in my room and it is swarmed with people and clothing racks, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? I had no idea. So I confronted Thomas and I was like, yo, like, what is happening here? You didn't even tell me about this. Like, I don't get it. Why do you think that you can do this? He's like, what do you mean I put it in the group text? I'm like, okay, one, you never said the date of when it's gonna happen. Two, you need to go to all the leaseholders and let them know. You also need to talk to the landlord about hosting a music video shoot. So I confronted him about that. I also confronted him about my percentages. He was trying to tell me that the $18K that I put down for this business was just so a bunch of friends could live together and it has nothing to do with the Hype House.
Again, she confronted Thomas and he reportedly shunned her and then unfollowed her on all of the Hype House's social media accounts, effectively making it look like she was no longer a member. He then went on to tell all of the other members to unfollow and block her as well, ensuring that she was duly cut off.
He unfollowed me off of all social medias to make it look like I'm not a part of it anymore. He hosted a little team meeting and asked them all to unfollow me and to block me without even he didn't even talk to me about this to be like, hey, yo, like, you should be kicked off the team. Like, he just did this. Like, I don't know, and I'm a co-founder and I put my physical money that I worked my ass off for into this house.
She also added that Thomas silenced her at key press events, referring to her as a hot Instagram model with a shelf life, and shut her out of deals, despite her being a co-founder. She even attempted to trademark Hype House, prompting a fierce legal counter from the others. The dispute escalated legally as Daisy filed for a trademark on the name Hype House, provoking the other founders, Thomas and Chase, to launch a competing LLC trademark via Chase's father. She later filed a lawsuit against Thomas, Petro, and Chase Hudson over ownership and financial disagreements. This breakup wasn't quiet. According to multiple sources, She was locked out of media and social handles and escorted out by security all over the mansion she helped fund. Pissed off at how she was treated, Daisy wasn't going to lay low and just take it all. And they started a subtle beef on social media, with Daisy supposedly taking an early jab with this video that she posted on TikTok. After seeing the video, fans were assured that it was directed at Thomas, but Daisy assured everyone that it wasn't directed to anyone and wasn't about anyone, getting ahead of the narrative. But at the end of the day, the cracks in their relationships were now visible for all to see. In next to no time, Thomas hit back at Daisy, promising to tell his own side of the story in due time. He also posted a tweet saying, "Nope, nope, nope, don't lie," responding to Daisy's claims in her video, and later doubled down on Instagram, posting a story that said, "Lies on lies one lies." A little while after Daisy Keech's video, Thomas dropped his own video to address the claims that Daisy lied against him and the rest of the Hype House crew. He denied the allegation that he said he was the only founder of the Hype House. He said that Daisy lied about the payment of the money, and that while she contributed for the Hype House, she did not do so immediately. Rather, he and Hudson raised the money and Daisy refunded them $18,000 back. He also showed receipts of the payments from Daisy to confirm this. Thomas also claims that Daisy was trying to hijack the Hype House name as she went behind their backs to apply for the trademark.
Proof, as you can see right here, the trademarks filed in Daisy Keech's name for the Hype House were filed on January 7th, almost 3 weeks after we started the entire Hype House. Keep in mind that Daisy did this behind anyone's backs, and I found out weeks after she had done this.
He also denied speaking ill about Daisy to her lawyer. Thomas also took to social media to clear his name, and he posted some of his chats with Daisy. And in the text's history, you can clearly see where he tells her that Lil Mosey wanted to shoot a video in the house, a text that she responded to with a voice recording, and then suggested that they charged a fee for letting him use the house. Then another chat history shows Thomas yet again informing her that another scene would be shot the following morning, and Daisy again is asking for payment for the leasing service. This evidence shows that Daisy was probably not communicating her ideas properly, or that she was straight up lying about the events at the house to look like the victim of the whole situation, as Thomas suggested earlier. Then Coover went on to further add that Daisy was very disrespectful towards other women in the house. That now prompted a response from Daisy's best friend towards Coover's post. Abby made a video, and in that video, she reminded Coover that Daisy was a good person, while Coover, on the other hand, she called one of the rudest persons she'd ever met. She goes on and on about how Coover just keeps digging and scraping for anything to bring Daisy down, but still can't find one. Then she added that Coover did not share all the chats she had with Daisy, promising to do that in her next posts.
Listen, I know Daisy's not going to speak on this situation anymore, but I'm her best friend, and I refuse to just sit here. Coover, how dare you say that Daisy is disrespectful towards women? You are one of the most disrespectful people I've ever come across in my entire life, truly mean-hearted. I don't understand why you won't show the rest of the text messages between you and Daisy, like where you were telling her that she means nothing and all of the rest of what you said. So I'm just gonna go ahead and post those next, and maybe stop trying to scrape and find information to just take Daisy down, because there is none. She's a great person and she always will be. So God bless and get a life. Thank you.
As she promised, Abby posted the rest of the chats between Debbie and Coover, and they revealed that Coover was the aggressor. From the conversation, one can deduce that Coover tried to reach out to Debbie to discuss some issues, but Debbie wasn't available for some reason, leading Coover to question why she was never available. Debbie said that the house was always dirty, and that was why she's not always around. After that, the ladies just got into a dogfight, taking shades and throwing jabs at each other. They compared the number of views they got on their accounts. Coover questions Debbie's status as co-founder, and it was just downhill from there. Weeks later, with a lawsuit against Thomas and Lil Huddy awaiting a date for hearing, Daisy announced that she's launched her own content house. She called the new house the Clubhouse, partnering with her best friend Abby Rowe and bringing in talents like TikTok fashion star Chase Keith and Kinsey Wolanski, the model that ran onto the pitch during a Champions League final match in 2019. Although Daisy was not the last notable name that exited the Hype House early on, in May of 2020, the D'Amelio sisters, Charlie and Dixie, also made their own dramatic departure from the house. The sisters said that they left because the project had become more of a business than a creative space, though they mentioned friendships with other members. After she tried to give reasons for her departure, fans still speculated the departures were tied to the internal drama of the Hype House, Daisy's removal, and especially as Charlie just broke up with Chase Hudson. These early exits highlighted a rift between members of the house who were prioritizing creative collaboration and those focusing on brand monetization. On Reddit, a fan thread warned of a looming disaster, saying that the group was quickly fading from memory and that the house was trashed. Reputations have been damaged, and only a few escaped unscathed. One user even recounted that Thomas forcibly demanded content creation daily. If she didn't make any content that day, then she wasn't allowed to eat, highlighting just how toxic the content house had become at that point. Even behind the scenes, sources later suggested that Thomas was the main profiteer, while many other members, including Daisy and Alex, made little to no money from the house itself, as they were mostly relying instead on individual brand deals. Beyond Daisy Keech's lawsuit, Thomas Petro also faced online criticism for allegedly using strict contracts and NDAs with the underage creators in the Hype House. According to some unverified but widely circulated claims on Reddit, these agreements were designed to lock in management control at a time when young influencers didn't fully understand the commitments they were making. While Petro has not been formally accused in court over these claims, the allegations fed a growing narrative of power imbalance inside the creative. By mid-2020, TikTok personality Darianka Sanchez was reportedly set to join the Hype House. The Costa Rican model Darianka Sanchez moved into the Hype House over the weekend and has since appeared in several social posts from the other house members. But after some allegations surfaced online about how she had engaged in hacking and bullying online, specifically targeting fellow influencer Kenzie Ziegler, her addition to the roster was later scrapped. The Hype House publicly denied she'd ever been an official member, but the incident raised questions about vetting and brand image. The Hype House drama spilled into public view in July 2020, when Chase Hudson posted a now-deleted tweet accusing various TikTok stars of cheating and dishonesty. Charli D'Amelio responded publicly, sparking a wave of back and forth between members of Hype House and rival collective Sway House. While the feud ended without physical confrontation, it drew millions of views and further entrenched the perception of instability. Then in early January 2021, Tony Lopez, one of the house's most visible members, was accused by two minors of grooming and sexual misconduct. The lawsuit alleged that the TikTok star and former Hype House influencer Tony Lopez sexually harassed and collected explicit photographs of two underage fans. Lopez initially denied all allegations, calling them financially motivated attacks. But the lawsuits brought serious reputational damage to both him and the Hype House brand. The case was eventually settled out of court as McLoone Law Group, a consumer-focused firm specializing in civil rights, employment rights, and sexual harassment cases, secured a settlement for the lawsuit filed in 2021. The settlement was reached amicably between Lopez and the accusers. Online interactions by fans, especially on Reddit communities, discussed the case of Jenny, a young figure that was associated with the early Hype House era. While finer details of her ordeal remain speculative, Reddit threads accused her family, particularly her mother, of exploiting her for content. After an interview she had with a reporter aired, revealing how she had been a victim of childhood exploitation, Jenny's TikTok account, where she had over 7 million followers, was banned due to TikTok exploitation concerns. The news fueled speculation about how younger creators were being managed and protected in influencer collectives. There were also concerns over the level of body exposure that Jenny showed in her videos, with the Reddit thread describing it as showing so much skin as a young teenager. And her mother, Maria, didn't help matters either. She reportedly acted crazy on camera multiple times, and even cursed at her kids and would allegedly hit them too, subjecting them to significant maltreatment and being rude about it. After she became older and wanted to now try TikTok on her own, Jenny's TikTok account kept getting banned for the same reasons. But it's all good for them now, as the Redditor adds that Jenny was able to buy a house for her family, and they've all moved in and she's safe now. After all that drama, one would not be condemned for thinking that the Hype House would be done with all their drama. But right at the turn of the new year, in January 2023, the Hype House was sued by its former landlord for over $300,000 in unpaid rent and property damage. Daniel Fitzgerald, a Hollywood landlord and the self-proclaimed owner of the biggest influencer homes in LA, filed a lawsuit against several members of the Hype House, including Thomas Petro and Cole Hudson. The lawsuit claimed the crew did significant destruction in the house, including broken tiles, structural harm to the building, and the use of prohibited items like fireworks and flamethrowers inside the property. He even made a video compilation of all the acts that caused damage to the property.
Hi, Daniel Fitzgerald here, Danny Hollywood Homes. Please watch the video of the Hype House destroying my home in a breach of contract, moved out 5 months early, and haven't paid the rent.
I think today we're gonna be using a flamethrower to scare that out of the Hype House. I don't even know how to use it. Why are you fucking scared? Oh, damn! Bryce! It's not turning on! Almost fucking burn down the Hype House! You do it, right?
The footage shows house guests using flamethrowers indoors, allegedly shattering tile flooring with their skateboards and disturbing the neighborhood as fans flocked to the property. Speaking to the media outlet, Fitzgerald said, "When we went to mediation, we just gave them a tape of all the stuff and said, this is what they did. And then they just settled on the spot, basically." According to the lawsuit filed against the Hype House, a $400,000 settlement was reached with the landlord, to be paid over the course of 40 months in $10,000 monthly payments. But that agreement was breached when the group only paid a quarter of the agreed monthly payment in January 2022. This default in their agreement prompted Fitzgerald to sue them, demanding the entire sum at once. The Landlord news eventually blew over, and soon headlines were taken over by the release of Hype House, a reality series on Netflix. The Hype House series featured stars of the actual Hype House crew: Coover Anand, Dragon, Hacker, Hayward, Hudson, Merritt, Petro, Warren, and Jack Wright. Hype House premiered on Netflix on January 7th, 2022. The series exposed the toll the influencer lifestyle was taking on members. Alex Warren admitted to anxiety over algorithm changes threatening his career that was already in a rough place. He stood out in the Netflix series as the moral center of the show. He was sold as an American success story for overcoming homelessness and the death of his parents, then making videos on their neighbor's webcam in 2011, then transforming himself into a self-made millionaire by creating some of the most viral internet videos of his generation. His story was nothing short of inspirational. Other members on the show noted that the house itself wasn't generating direct income for them, as they've relied on personal brand deals.
Okay, so hold on. You make money from the record deal, but do you make anything from Hype House?
No, never. No one made money off Hype House except for Thomas.
What?
Yeah.
How the f does that work?
I don't know. It was the whole thing where he controlled the finances. Pretty much, he just said, all the money will be used to pay for a Hype House account. It's we had an account for the Hype House purchases and stuff, and he just controlled it. But we got paid for brand deals.
Okay.
The Hype House would bring.
But he still took a piece of those too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that why the Hype House died, or did it just run its course?
A lot of us signed NDAs, so no one's going to talk about it. Yeah. But, it's
do they own a piece of your music business?
Hell no. He doesn't. No. Hype House, the whole thing is there was no contracts. No one owned parts of things, but there was falling out. Anyone who's ever been a part of Hype House will not tell you what happened.
What happens in Hype House?
But at a certain point, if everyone leaves and no one, all of us hang out, but no one hangs out with anyone who is in it or are currently in it for a certain reason.
Petro, meanwhile, shouldered most of the crew's managerial and legal responsibility. After naming himself manager, he also controlled all the money that the Hype House generated, and multiple members of the crew have fingered him for the mismanagement of said funds. Between 2021 and 2022, the original momentum of the Hype House had significantly waned. Early members like Michael Sanzone, Alex Warren, Coover Anand, Jack Wright, Patrick Houston, Calvin Goldby, and Connor Paper Yates had moved out of the house, only ever reaffirming their affiliation to the crew by name only. Thomas Petro, the remaining co-founder, said that those left did so on good notes, and he reaffirmed the importance of the crew's continued connection despite its separation. Although Thomas made significant effort to maintain continuity by adding new faces like Tabitha Swadash, Brooke Monk, Paige Taylor, and members of the Breezy Boys, most of these additions had left by late 2022. Finally, the mansion itself, the iconic home that symbolized the collective, was sold in August 2024, marking a definitive end to the physical era of the Hype House. Several factors accelerated the Hype House's decline. Events like Daisy Keach's early departure over decision-making and financial exclusion, followed by her trademark dispute, revealed foundational fractures from the very start. In recent interviews, Alex Warren has disclosed that, apart from Petro, most members earned little to nothing directly from the collective, proving that it stopped being profitable for the creators. That, combined with the necessity to consistently produce viral content, probably sapped enthusiasm from the crew members. Alex Warren also admitted that he was failing at times to keep up with performance expectations, with burnout a recurring theme. He even teased a song in a video titled "Burning Down," and said that the song was for the content house, making fans speculate and eventually reach the conclusion that he was talking about the Hype House. The Hype House's rapid rise and fall mirrored the life of the other TikTok collectives. Take the Sway House, for example. They disbanded in early 2021, showing the same fragile, trend-driven nature of such venues. Alex Warren, as we mentioned earlier, has pivoted to music and podcasting. He began independently releasing music around 2021 before he was signed by Atlantic Records the following year. His 2024 single Burning Down from his debut EP was his first song to appear on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. His 2025 single Ordinary peaked at the top of the Billboard Hot 100, where it remained for multiple weeks, and also topped the charts in several other countries, including Australia, Canada, and United Kingdom. Vinnie Hacker, who joined in 2021, has grown into a design, modeling, and streaming career, one that is boasting millions of followers on TikTok and a strong Twitch presence. Kuver Anand, after leaving the house, continued her relationship with Alex, and they announced their engagement in 2022 on New Year's Eve. The pair eventually got married in 2024. The union was wildly celebrated online as it was an event that resonated with fans and also aided the couple's continued relevance in influencer circles. Many others continued building personal brands via content, music, acting, or other entertainment ventures.